Hello everyone, a very good afternoon everyone. I hope everyone's doing well. So today we are going to be continuing our discussion on graphs. If you can recall that we already discussed about certain things like equation of straight lines were being discussed in the previous class, if you can recall. So I hope I am audible to everyone and obvious thing, I am visible to everyone. And let's start the session. So everyone can give me a thumbs up and like the session as well in order to notify me that I am audible and visible. So welcome to day 11th. That's 23rd of April 2025, where we are going to be continuing our discussion on graphs. So today we are going to be discussing about very interesting concepts which is going to be helping you out for sure in the upcoming context of JEE Main and Advanced. Because most of the students are having a confusion. If you can recall that yesterday we discussed about straight lines and the equations associated with straight lines, isn't it? So now if I say that let's try to plot, the question is very simpler everyone. Plot velocity is equal to constant in V versus T graph. So this is your question everyone. So this is the first question, plot velocity is equal to constant in V versus T graph. So what needs to be done? Over here it's saying that velocity is constant. So now can anyone tell me what's going to be the nature of the graph? Yes, good evening, good afternoon, good evening, hello. Yes, correct Srikar, you are right. So now if I try to plot the graph in between V being plotted along the ordinate axis and the time is being plotted along the x-axis, I will be getting the nature of the graph to be this. So that constant, let's say that constant is being given as V0. Let's say that velocity is constant some V0. It was moving, so I can mark it as 0, V0. So it's going to be remaining the same throughout the time axis. So this is what constant means. This is what constant means everyone. So this is not a straight line. This is, you can say this is not a straight line everyone, because these are, you can say that constant means or you can say y is equals to x to the power 0. I can call it as a constant, isn't it? So they are not going to be following any nature. So the only thing which you need to do is you just need to draw the straight line over there, nothing else. Okay. So now if I am being asked from this graph itself, I am asking you to plot acceleration time graph. Plot acceleration versus time graph. Then can anyone tell me what's going to be the nature of the graph? I hope I am audible to everyone. So what's going to be the nature of the graph everyone? What do you think? Acceleration versus time. So now we know that we have seen in day 7th and day 8th that acceleration is supposed to be given as dv by dt. So if you can recall that acceleration is said to be the slope of velocity time graph, isn't it? So now in this context, if the velocity is proving out to be constant, the acceleration has to be 0, isn't it? So now you can, if you want to plot A versus T graph, so this is how the nature of the graph is going to be seeming out to be like. A is being plotted along the y-axis and time is being plotted along the x-axis. So what I will be doing, this is how the nature of the graph is going to be like. Because you are able to see something is blue in color, that blue color represents A is equals to 0. You know that that's the equation of the x-axis, isn't it? A is equal to 0. So that's exactly Srikar, you are right. So we are just trying to write down the equation of the time axis, which is A is equals to 0. So I hope it's clear. Now the next question which I will be asking to everyone, try to plot, these all are questions, okay? Plot displacement versus time. So now you are being asked to plot the displacement versus time graph. How are you supposed to plot? Anyone? What do you think is going to be the nature of the graph? What do you think? You can write it down over there in the chat box. Displacement versus time is being asked in the question. Everyone is free to write down. What do you think it should be? Okay. Srikar is right. Uniform. Rajesh Yadav is also correct. Sahi. Okay. Great. Great. Okay, fine. So everyone, whatever you are having in your respective minds, you can just keep on writing down, mentioning it down over there. Okay. So now you can recall I have already mentioned in day 8 itself. It was being mentioned in day 7th and day 8th. From the concept, if you can recall, that I can write down that V is equivalent to dx by dt. Isn't it? And we can also write down dx as v dt. If you can recall, dx is going to be equal to v dt. So from velocity time graph, we can consider that area under the velocity time graph is going to be giving us the displacement time graph. So now, if you can recall, I mentioned that the slope of a straight line is going to be constant. Yesterday itself we have seen, isn't it? Those who can recall, they can write it down over there. Which nature are you trying to mention? So those who can recall. So if I just try to plot the displacement time graph, it is going to be a straight line passing through the origin. Let's say displacement is being plotted along the ordinate and the time is being plotted along the abscissa. So the straight line which I will be getting, it's going to be like this. I hope it's clear. If yes, if you are liking this, you can give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to like the session. Yes, correct. Straight line passing to the origin. So now you can see that if I differentiate dx by dt, I will be getting the slope is going to be constant, and subsequently if I differentiate this, I will be getting 0, where the acceleration is going to be equivalent to 0 over there. So now the next thing which we have to learn, so this is going to be the concept of uniform motion. We also call this as uniform motion. The graphs, whatever we have discussed so far, this is an example of uniform motion which you are going to be studying in the chapter named as kinematics in your upcoming days. Once you enroll in our Sri Chaitanya educational institutions, you are going to be studying this. This is going to be a part of uniform motion, is a part of kinematics. Okay, so now let's proceed. Let's proceed to the next context, that is parabola. I mentioned something, if you can recall, we discussed about parabola, everyone. But before we start parabola, there is a very important thing which we need to discuss, that's hyperbola, everyone. If you can see this point, y is inversely proportional to x. If any parameter proves out to be inversely proportional to the other, we can draw the nature of the graph to be a rectangular hyperbola. Now let me tell you an interesting fact. The rectangular hyperbola is going to be taught in JEE Advanced and Main syllabus of mathematics in the context of coordinate geometry. But at this point of time, you should be knowing what's rectangular hyperbola means. So I will write down over here, it's a rectangular hyperbola. You all can note this thing down. So what's going to be the equation of a rectangular hyperbola? Yx is going to be equal to some constant. That's going to be the nature of the rectangular hyperbola. Okay? In inverse proportionality. So what I am trying to say is, so you can see that y inversely proportional to x, or y is equals to 2 by x. What is 2 over here? It's some constant. Over here, if you are able to see that 2 is proving out to be some constant. So represents a rectangular hyperbola in first and the third quadrants. Just if you can recall, y is equal to x. If you can recall, y is equal to mx. The straight line passing to the origin, I plotted it like this, isn't it? If you can recall, I just tried to plot it like this. It will be existing in the first and the third quadrant. The same thing will be validated for y is inversely proportional to x. Okay? That's what I'm doing. So now what I will be doing over there is, okay, so let's try to pay attention over here. The shape of the rectangular hyperbola is going to be shown. So this is the representation of y, which is inversely proportional to x, and this is the nature of y when it is inversely proportional to negative of x. So these two graphs you need to consider. These two graphs are required to be considered, everyone. So now the next thing which we have to know is the same thing. You can see that from the graph we can see that y tends to 0 as x tends to infinity, or x tends to 0 and y tends to infinity. Okay. So now the main thing which I will be mentioning over here is going to be an example of inverse proportionality based upon the concept which we learnt a few minutes back. So what I am trying to represent is, we are dealing with rectangular hyperbolas. So you know the nature of the graph very well, isn't it? I have already mentioned that when y is proving out to be inversely proportional to x, so you can write it down that y in this case is inversely proportional to 1 by x. So I will write down the statement in this context that y is inversely proportional to x. Okay, clear everyone? Y is inversely proportional to x. Okay, so now if I can make you recall, everyone might have studied about gravitation. Everyone might have studied gravitation. Those who know gravitation, they can give a thumbs up. Newton's law of gravitation. What's going to be gravitation, everyone? I will mention it, Naruto, don't worry about it, how to find out the nature of the graph. From the equation itself, you can find out the nature of the graph. I will show you. The best example over here is going to be the gravitational, exactly, Newton's law of gravitation. So let's try to take the example of Newton's law of gravitation. So what is it, everyone? What's Newton's law of gravitation? You know that F is, there are two masses. Let's say if I'm making you recall, because this concept you people might have studied in the context of class 9th. So there are two masses, let's say M1 and M2, which are being separated at some distance of R. Okay, these are 2 point masses. To be specific, we are having M1 and M2 are the point masses and they are being separated by some distance R. So you know that there will be some mysterious force which is going to be existing in between these two masses. So what are they going to be? So they are going to be attracting each one of them by some force. Let's say this is the force by which these masses are going to be attracting each one of them. Okay? So this force is said to be directly proportional to the product of the masses, and it is being said that this force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance in between them. So this equation, the second equation which I wrote, that is also known as the inverse square law, isn't it? So based upon this, if I combine these two equations, I will be getting that F is going to be equivalent to, you can write it down, it as F is going to be proportional to M1 M2 by R square, and there has to be some proportionality constant, isn't it? There has to be some proportionality constant which is R square. So if I combine these equations, what I will be getting? So it is going to be some proportionality constant comes G, capital G, M1 M2 by R square. So this thing you have already studied in class 9th, and once again We are going to be studying this thing in class 11th itself in the upcoming days once we complete rotational mechanics. Okay, there's a chapter named as gravitation, and you are going to be learning about interesting theories associated with satellites, then planets, stars. Okay, so now you can see that if I am asking you, see, this is a very commonly asked JEE main question. Exactly. So G ka value kya hota hai? So okay, fine. So let's try to know about this value of G as well. That is 6.11 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton. Right, isn't it? Yes or no? kg square. Okay, so this is going to be the value of G. Exactly, you're right. So now, yes, exactly, Akshat, you will be learning calculus once again in class 12th, class 11th, mathematics syllabus, it's there, and along with every questions, we are going to be using calculus everywhere, and graphs for sure. That's what most of the students, R square it is, not R4. R is the distance in between them. R is proving out to be the distance in between M1 and M2. Okay, so now Naruto asked me this question, and another person named as Zombie Slayer also asked me this question, that sir, how are we supposed to know the nature of the graph? So now if you are able to see that you are being asked to plot, now the question comes, plot the gravitational force versus R square. Okay, you are being asked to plot F versus R square. Then what's going to be the nature of it? It has to be inversely proportional. So there itself we are going to be having the rectangular hyperbola. Y square, because it follows the inverse square law. It's a deduced law. There is a chapter named as, okay, most of the people are asking me this question. Okay, that is, sir, why we are using R square? There is a chapter named as physical world which got deleted from JEE main, and obviously it was not a part of JEE advanced syllabus. Okay, so but I will insist the students to go through that physical world chapter in your class 11th curriculum. It's there in NCERT. Okay, okay, fine, Akshan. My pleasure itself. Okay, so now what I will be doing is, I would like to say you, these are known as, there are two methods by which you can perform any problem solving in physics. There are two methods of doing physics. Okay, so one is unification method and another one is reduction method. So unification method we are going to be learning in the upcoming days. This is what the reduction method is all about. So based upon that reduction method, they gave us the idea that inverse square law will be applicable for gravitational forces, electric forces, I will be saying, even magnetic forces as well. That as you keep on moving away from the source which is generating, let's say, some gravitational field or the electric field, so what will happen is, it's going to be, you will be experiencing a weaker force as you keep on moving forward. Okay, so now what I will be doing is, I will mention, so what's going to be the nature of the graph? Let's try to plot F versus R square. So the nature of the graph is, so can anyone tell me what's going to be the nature of the graph? Write it down over there in the chat box. Next month, Sudhakar Reddy, it's going to be started. So those who want to meet me, they can meet me over there in the Vagdevi campus. Okay, rectangular hyperbola, yes, absolutely correct. Everyone, write it down over there. Write it down over there, that what needs to be done. Okay, so it's going to be a rectangular hyperbola. So the nature of the graph, if I try to plot, it's going to be like this. Okay, so you can draw it in the third quadrant as well, but I am not going to do that thing because they will be only asking you to plot it in one of the quadrants. So you will be notified, Prabhakar, maybe after 10th of May, you will be having your college. Okay, after 10th May. So your bridge course will be extended till 10th of May. Okay, everyone. So now what I will be saying is, This is one of the applications. Okay, definitely for sure we'll mention about it, Akshat. So now let's try to know about parabolas. Okay, so let's try to know. I hope rectangle hyperbola is clear. So now see everyone, there comes parabola. I promise that we are about to start parabola. So parabola means, you can say, when you are expecting a gradual change of the output with respect to the input. Okay, exactly. So now you can imagine a parabola to be a polynomial. What is it, everyone? Parabola is a polynomial of degree 2. Okay, those equations which can be represented as a polynomial of degree 2 are said to be polynomials. So let me tell you one interesting fact. Everyone knows quadratic equation, isn't it? Everyone can recall quadratic equation. Naruto, quadratic equation aata hai? Quadratic equation. Those who know quadratic equation, they can write it down over there. Those who are aware about quadratic equation, they can write it down over there. That yes, sir, we know quadratic equation. How to find out the roots? They can give a thumbs up over there, and it's an obvious thing. Likes as well over there in the like button. Okay, yes, very good. So now you can see that quadratic equation is a polynomial of degree 2. So if I try to plot the graph, it is going to be a parabola. So now you can see that the standard equations are being listed over here, that this one will start from here, that y is directly proportional to x square or y is equal to 2x square. Represents a parabola passing through the origin as shown. So we are going to be discussing about parabolas passing through the origin. So this one, you can write down the equation of this as y is equal to kx square. And similarly for this one, you can write down x is equals to ky square, where k is going to be some constant. Where k is going to be some constant over here. Okay. So this is what I would like to say. That's what we are going to be discussing right now. So now let's say that let's come back to the context, everyone. The context is being listed over there as. So now let's try to discuss on parabolas. So parabolas, what's the standard equation? There are two equations which you can get. One is y square is equals to kx or x square is equals to ky. We have already seen it over there, isn't it? Okay, yes, very good. Everyone's writing down the, exactly, you are right, Naga Kaushik, you are right, everyone. So plotting quadratic equations is a part of mathematics syllabus. Okay, if we get time, we are going to be discussing that as well. But you should be knowing how to plot the parabolas accordingly. So now these are the two standard equations, and these parabolas will be initiating from the origin. If I try to plot y is equal to x square, you have seen the graph, isn't it? If I am supposed to plot y is equal to x square, or let's try to plot it in some different manner. What I will be doing is, let's say it's being given that plot, that's plot x is directly proportional to t square, where x is the displacement of the particle. Okay, this is what our question is. Then how are we supposed to plot this? So now what we have to do is, how are we supposed to plot this? How are we supposed to plot x versus t square? Can anyone mention? So now displacement is varying as square of time, isn't it? So that's what represents a parabola. This is what the nature is going to be, parabolic. So if I try to plot it, let's say I can plot it in the first quadrant. You can also plot it in the second quadrant as well. It depends on you. So the nature of the graph is parabolic. Let's say x as a function of time is being plotted against time axis. This is the displacement which you are plotting it along the y axis, and the time is being plotted along the x axis. So now everyone, Write it down over there. What's the nature? It's going to be a parabola. Like this. You can just try to plot some of that part which is in the first quadrant. Now I want everyone to plot the velocity time graph and the acceleration time graph. Can you tell me the nature? Okay, so can you think about, if I am going to be asking you a question now from this, let's try to continue. Plot velocity versus time. Plot velocity versus time. And the next one is going to be acceleration versus time. So obviously you cannot show me the plot, but definitely you can mention me the nature of the graph. Can you mention me the nature of the graph, everyone? Write it down, दे chat box. So velocity time graph पहले बनाते, ठीक है? Let's say that velocity is being plotted along the y-axis, time is being plotted along the x-axis. So write it down over there. What do you think is going to be the nature of the graph? Over there, everyone can write down the nature of the graph. I will be checking the comment box. Sab likh dijiye. What's going to be the nature of the graph? What do you think? X is directly proportional to t square. If you're having any function as y is equal to x square, okay, like this you can say y square is equal to kx, yeah, let's say x square is equals to ky, something is there, you will be getting parabolic nature, okay? You are going to be getting some parabolic nature over here. Not rectangular hyperbola, Rani. It has to be a parabola, not a straight line. Of course, that's not a straight line. Keep on thinking, keep on thinking. लीनियर तो होगा, ठीक है, चलिए. तो now velocity time graph is going to be a straight line passing the origin. You know, right? Everyone knows. If I am writing it down, let's say if the equation of displacement is x is equal to some kt square, you know that we can find out the velocity, isn't it? How to find out the velocity? Velocity is going to be dx by dt, isn't it? So I will be getting it as 2kt. So what is this? Can anyone tell me what is the nature of the straight line? Can you write it down, the nature of the equation which I got it over here, v is equal to 2kt? Write down over there in the chat box. Linear लिखने से नहीं होगा. You have to mention either it's a straight line, a parabola, what you will be getting. लिखते रहिए भैया. Linear सब लिख रहे हैं. Straight line होगा ना? It's a straight line, isn't it? It is going to be a straight line. If it's a straight line, give me a thumbs up. Isn't it? If it's a straight line, give me a thumbs up. Yes. Write it down over there. What's the straight line? It's going to be a straight line passing through the origin. So if I just try to plot this straight line, this is going to be the nature of it. Can you tell me the slope? Can everyone tell me the slope of the straight line? Write it down over there in the chat box. Write it down over there in the chat box. What's going to be the slope? And also write down the y-intercept as well. चलिए देखते हैं आपने कितना पढ़ाई किया है. Write down the slope first. पहले slope लिखिए. 1, 2k. 2k या 1? ये किसके फॉर्म में बताइए? 1 नहीं है. इसको कंपेयर किसके साथ करना है? You need to compare it with, you need to compare this equation with y is equals to mx, isn't it? Can you recall? Y is equals to mx. Okay? So what is the slope? Slope in this situation is proving out to be 2k. So the straight line which I have drawn in solid yellow line, that's going to be having its slope as tan theta is going to be equal to 2k. Tan theta is going to be equal to 2k. Okay? So how to write down theta? Now if I say that this is making some angle, this is making some angle of theta with respect to the time axis. Let's say that this straight line is making some angle theta with respect to the x-axis. Then how are we supposed to write down the value of theta? कोई बता सकता है theta क्या होगा? Can anyone tell me what is the value of theta over here? I want everyone to write down whatever you think. It's not that sir is going to be saying something or my friends will be saying something. Everyone's free to write. See, if you are doing science, the most important, if you are a student of STEM, Science, Technology, Engineering and Mathematics, the first thing which you need to be doing is you should be having free thinking, free thought. You should not be thinking that what the society will be saying, what my friends will be saying, if I am going to be writing any wrong answer over there. It hardly matters. It hardly matters. The only thing which matters is how good you are at learning that thing. How fast you are learning that thing. Okay, and it's a constant evaluation. Very good, Medaluri. Very good. Tan inverse of 2k. 45 nahi hai. So now there itself comes. So now some students were saying on the very first day, sir, what is inverse trigonometric function? Can you teach us inverse trigonometric function? ITR is there. It's a part of JEE Main Advanced Mathematics curriculum. Yahan pe, over here I am just giving you the basics, the threshold which is required to solve any problem of physics. You will be learning all the things in depth in your mathematics curriculum. So now if I say this is tan theta is 2k, I have already written it over here, isn't it? So you can write down theta as tan inverse of 2k. This is what inverse trigonometric function is. This is what inverse trigonometric function is. I hope it's clear. Okay? And now this is going to be the inverse trigonometric function. You can also write it down in some books, in some standard books of mathematics, like I.A. Maran is one of the best books of calculus. Definitely either of the sirs and madams are going to be recommending you that book to solve any question of calculus. Okay, I.A. Maran is a Russian author. Okay, just like Irodov is there in physics. He's a Russian physicist, isn't it? Igor Irodov, if you can recall. So the same thing is going to be applicable over here as well. Okay, everyone. So now what needs to be done? This can be also written as, the another statement of writing down theta is tan arc of 2k. Arc tan, actually we usually prefer writing it down. Arc tan, this is the synonym of writing down inverse trigonometric function. Okay everyone, arc tan of 2k. Okay, so this is what inverse trigonometric function is. Now my question to everyone, the value of tan theta आपके पास दिया हुआ है. Let's say from this I am getting a relation. Now I am putting another question. After that we have plotted this velocity time graph. Then it's going to be your task to plot the acceleration time graph. We'll do it later on in the upcoming time, isn't it? So now, no, tan inverse is not tan to the power minus 1. Okay, it's the way of writing it down like that. Okay, why not cot? Why not cot? You can write down cot, then cot theta is going to be what? 1 by 2k. You can write down. If tan theta is 2k, what is going to be cot theta? Write down cot theta is going to be, you know that is 1 by tan theta. So that is going to be 1 by 2k. Then what is going to be theta? Theta can be also written as cot inverse of 1 by 2k. लिख सकते हैं ना? हाँ या ना? बोलिए. Those are in favor of this is how I can write it down. They can give me a thumbs up. Those who are in the favor that we can write it down like this, they can give me a thumbs up. So I can write it down in the form of cot inverse as well. Satish and Sanjana, they asked me why not cot. Tan is the way of slope representation. Because slope is tan theta. Zombie Slayer. I have already mentioned that slope is tan theta. dy by dx. Y by x. If there is any change of delta y, that is going to be delta x. क्या होता है? If I consider, if I draw this right angle triangle, if I say it's theta, this is delta y, this is delta x, क्या होना चाहिए? Tan theta, you know that? क्या होना चाहिए? परपेंडिकुलर बाई बेस. याद आ रहा है? कैन रिकॉल दिस? परपेंडिकुलर बाई बेस. तो व्हाट आई विल बी राइटिंग डाउन? द स्लोप इज tan of theta. Okay? If you write down, if you can recall y2 minus y1 by x2 minus x1. Those who are able to understand, give a thumbs up. Okay? If you can recall. Cot theta, okay, I asked like how to write down cot theta. Cot theta is 1 by tan theta. So tan theta is 2k. I wrote it down it as 2k. So theta can also be represented as cot inverse of 2k. So can you write down the expressions of sine and cos from this? Now my question to you is, we will try to plot. Okay, fine. So in the next page what I will be doing is, first of all let's try to plot acceleration time graph. पहले plot करिए, plot acceleration versus time. Can you plot A versus T graph, everyone? Can you tell me the nature of A versus T? Write it down over there. What is going to be A versus T? And all the participants, apart from posting like over there, I want everyone to press the like button on. Okay. So if this was proving out to be a straight line, you can see that velocity was varying with respect to time. Linearly, very good, Srikar. It's correct. It's going to be a constant. Don't call constant to be a straight line. Don't call constant to be a straight line. So now what needs to be done? Let's try to plot A versus T. चलिए plot करते हैं. Acceleration along the y-axis and time along the x-axis. What I will be getting? You know that acceleration is rate of change of velocity with respect to time. तो अगर मेरा equation है v is equal to 2kt, so what is going to be acceleration? That is d by dt of 2kt. क्या होता है d by dt of 2kt? Answer लिखिए. Write down the answer over there in the chat box. What is d by dt of 2kt? Write it down in the chat box, everyone. Write down, everyone, one after the other. सब लिखिए. Let's see that whether we are able to recall differentiation or not. 2k. Okay. 2k. Sab likhe, everyone. Keep on writing. Yes, it's going to be 2k. 2k will be coming outside d by dt of t. So you can see, everyone can see the application part. Everyone can find out the application part of whatever we have studied so far, isn't it? The application parts are being rediscussed, isn't it, everyone? So now we are getting 2k is what? Some constant, isn't it? 2k is a constant. Those who feel that 2k is a constant, give me a thumbs up. Those who feel that 2k is a constant, give me a thumbs up. (2k) constant hai? Yes, correct. 2k is a constant. So now we can plot that. कैसे plot करेंगे in AT graph? This is how we can plot it. And don't forget to mark the coordinates. It's going to be 0, 2k. So this brings you the concept of uniform acceleration, isn't it? Constant acceleration. You will learn these things in kinematics once again, such that when you are being taught these concepts, you should be the first student. All those who are attending the bridge course today, mention me something. Give me a promise that when you are going to be taught with these things by your respected sirs and madams, you will be the first ones to answer. Stand in the class and answer to your respective sirs and madams. Okay? I hope you got the promise, everyone. Okay? So that you can say that yes, we are acquainted with this. We already know this. We are familiar to this, isn't it? Okay? So now, yes, so what's going to be the slope? Now, if I ask what is dA by dt, what is rate of change of acceleration with respect to time? Let's try it. Can anyone tell me? There is a fun fact. What is rate of change of acceleration with respect to time? Can you write it down over there in the chat box? क्या होना चाहिए? इधर तो जीरो है, that's true. Constant d by dt of constant is zero. But let me tell you an interesting fact that accelerations do have derivative as well. JEE Advanced 2023, they asked a question, 2022, actually it was JEE Advanced 2022, they asked the question based upon the rate of change of acceleration. If I can recall, I and one of my colleagues of my previous institution, we were discussing on that. Okay, so dA by dt is 2, correct, Kaushal? So I will tell you that what is this rate of change of acceleration? Rate of change of acceleration क्या होता है? Can anyone tell me the answer? Any parameter? Does any parameter exist as such? Jerk, correct. Grishmant, jerk is the correct answer. You are right. That's jerk. Lot of smart students are there. Lot of smart students are there. Okay. Jerk is rate of change of acceleration with time. So now tell me, those who are interested in cricket, raise your hands. Those who have been watching cricket, they can raise their hands. Raise their hands means give a thumbs up. Nahi Satvik. Those who have been watching cricket for the last 10 years. Okay. So are you familiar with two people? I will mention the names of two famous bowlers. One is Sean Tate and Shoaib Akhtar. Sean Tate and Shoaib Akhtar. Have you heard the names? Especially Sean Tate. If yes, raise your hands or give a thumbs up over there. Okay, great. So now these people like Sean Tate and Shoaib Akhtar were said to be performing jerk while bowling. Their bowling action was having jerk. They were capable of changing the acceleration while delivering the ball. Okay. They were capable of changing the acceleration while delivering the ball. Okay. And you can see that their actions, their bowling actions used to match. Okay. Even Bumrah does that at present, I feel. I feel that Bumrah also does the same. Jasprit Bumrah. Yes, Sean Tate, an Australian bowler who took the second highest number of wickets in ICC Cricket World Cup 2007 West Indies, and everyone knows the Rawalpindi Express. The fastest bowl was being bowled by Shoaib Akhtar, 161.7 kilometers per hour. Yes, exactly. So they were capable of generating some jerk. In cricket, in football, or real life situations, you can deal with any problem of mechanics. Okay. Like I can see that in today in the morning while having my breakfast before my lectures, I found that one famous sir, he was demonstrating a lecture on a problem which he formulated based upon the catch which was being taken by Surya Kumar Yadav in ICC Cricket T20 World Cup 2024. Okay, so it was based upon a question which was based upon it. In Pathfinder, you will find several such questions based upon cricket. And yes, there is a question on projectile motion, a very famous question on projectile motion based upon Messi and Ronaldo, whether they are capable of scoring goal or not. Okay, so over there, if I just try to plot jerk versus time, J versus T, let's say. So if I differentiate this with respect to time, you know that that is going to be d by dt of 2k, which is going to be giving us 0. I hope it's clear, everyone. So let's come back to the context. It's going to be giving us 0. So I will be getting a line intersecting the time axis. Right, everyone? Yes, Sarvesh, how are you? I hope everyone's doing well. Sarvesh, he is my ex-student of my previous institution. He is currently studying in NIT Warangal, isn't it? Isn't it, Sarvesh? NIT Warangal or Surathkal? Yes, NIT Warangal. Exactly, that's fine. Okay, so now let's try to know about parabolas. That's great. Which department you are studying at? Which stream have you chosen? Sarvesh, you can write it over there. Yes, so if it's straight line to the origin acceleration time graph, yes, exactly, the slope, you are right, Grishmant Paturi. Okay, so yes, integrated MSc Physics. Okay, that's really great. Okay, so now that's what I was willing to say, that it's not only you should be choosing for engineering. Engineering is nothing but the application part of physics itself. You can go for integrated MSc in physics, mathematics or mathematics and computation, and you can do something in the field of STEM, the thing which I've already mentioned in the previous class, if you can recall. So yes, there are young minds who are doing something in the field of STEM. So that's Sarvesh for you, who chose physics over engineering. So you can also think about doing the same. Okay, integrated MSc in physics, Manik Reddy. So now I will be mentioning about something very interesting, that is, so let's continue and complete parabolas today, the basics of parabola. So now if you are being asked to plot x square is equals to minus k times of y and y square is equivalent to minus of k of x. So now can you people plot the graph associated over here? Yes, Kunal, it's already been given. It's integrated MSc in physics, IMSc physics. I believe that everyone knows this. There is something known as integrated MSc. It's not that only you can go for B or BTech. You can also opt for IMSc, stands for integrated MSc. In physics, it's there. Then in astrophysics, it's also there. Then mathematics. And most of the students I have seen, they have been preferring mathematics and computation. So in these branches, you can pursue IMSc. And after that, what is going to be the career prospect? You people must be thinking. After completion of IMSc, you will be absorbed for PhD and postdoc in either of the prestigious US universities, UK and German universities like MIT, Harvard, then University of Berlin, ETH Zurich. Okay, so that's not the only part, that's not the only aspect. Even I've seen that certain IMSc, MSc students of physics, they have pursued their PhD in artificial intelligence, data science, robotics, and they are doing wonders at this point of time. Okay, so apart from teaching of physics, it's my righteous duty to enlighten you with your respective careers, because you should be knowing that if you are studying physics, maths, chemistry for JEE and advanced, you are having a wide prospect in your respective careers. Okay, so that's not the only thing which you should be knowing. So now what I will be mentioning you is, let's try to plot this to x square is equals to minus of ky and y square is equals to minus kx. So now this the first one, let's try to plot. Y has to be plotted along the ordinate axis itself and x needs to be plotted along the abscissa. You should not be altering the exact significance of the Cartesian plane. So for this, if I just try to plot x square is equals to minus of ky, so I can plot it like this. Okay, we can plot it like this, everyone. And if I just try to plot the second one, so this is going to be the representation of x square is equals to minus of ky. You can write it down it as what? Y is equals to minus of x square by k. You can also plot it like this, isn't it? And if I just try to plot y square is equals to minus of kx, which I will be plotting it over there in the right part of this blackboard, then I will be getting it as This is going to be the nature associated over here. This is how we can plot y square is equals to minus of kx. How to find out? I am giving you the basic equations, Kaushal. You are going to be encountering these situations in the chapter named as Parabola in your JEE Main Advanced Mathematics curriculum. So over there you will be having a better idea how to plot a parabola, means how to plot a parabola with various conditions. Right now you will be asked the basic stuffs like parabola which is passing through the origin. Okay. Okay, fine. So now this is what your parabola is all about. So now let's start knowing about the other aspects which are, okay, so you can see, you can read point number 5 everyone. It's being given as, if there is a quadratic equation having the equation of y is equal to x square plus 4 or x square minus of 6 will be representing a parabola but not passing through the origin. Okay, these are not going to be passing through the origin everyone, because you are having some intercept over here. You are able to see that we are having some y-intercept in this context as well. So tomorrow we are going to be solving some questions based upon this about y-intercept. So that's why x is doubled, y will not become that of the 4 times. Okay, because now we are having some intercept associated. Okay, in the previous cases if you are able to see the parabolas whatever I have plotted over here in this case, they were not having any intercepts. But now in these equations, the equations which I mentioned, they are having intercepts associated over here as well. And in order to find out how to find out that where the parabola is going to be intersecting the x-axis, you need to solve this equation. That's what the roots of quadratic equations are. Intercept is the point where the curve intersects the x or the y-axis, Lakshmi. Okay. So now what I will be doing is, now let's try to discuss about these two functions, because I have already used those two terms if you can recall. While solving differentiation integration based questions, we have already discussed about exponentially decaying functions and long functions, isn't it? So now if I say the theory is going to be quite interesting. Now let's try to discuss about, before we end this session, we need to know certain things. Before we end this session, we need to know about certain things. And what are the things, everyone? Ln and log. You can write down log and exponents. So these two functions, if I call the names of these two functions, these two functions are interconvertible. They are interconvertible with respect to each one of them. So now if I say that not inverse, they are interconvertible. Okay. For example, if I am having something as, let's say, log b base a is equals to t. You know that log will be having some base. And if I talk about this b, everyone, I can say that where b has to be greater than 0. It cannot be 0, but it has to be greater than 0. Okay, I think so. Log is already going on. Yes, Sai Satvik. Those roots we are trying to mention about it. Okay, so you need to solve for the roots of the quadratic equation. That's true. So now if I will be writing it down over here as log b base a is equals to t, this can be written as b, you can write it down it as a to the power t. So you can see that these two functions are interconvertible. We can call that these two functions are interconvertible. That's what I was trying to say. Okay, clear everyone? If yes, give a thumbs up that log and exponents are interconvertible. Now if I am having a function, let's say we are just trying to write down, we know that ln 1 is equals to 0. Ln of 1 is equals to 0. This is a known value to us. You are going to be taught log table by maths sir or chemistry sir. Okay, so ln of 1 is going to be equivalent to 0. So now what we are going to do is, this ln 1 can be written as what? Log 1 base e is equals to 0. Ln means what, everyone? Logarithm having base of e. Okay, so you can write it down over there. So now we can write it down. This is what? 1 can be written as e to the power 0. So 1 we can write it down as e to the power 0. So this is what is known as ln and log functions, you can say, and exponents. They are interconvertible with respect to each one of them. So tomorrow we are going to be knowing about this exponentially. Exponential functions means tomorrow's class we are going to be knowing about tomorrow's session. The graphs of this too, because these graphs are going to be used throughout your physics curriculum for JEE Main and Advanced. Graphs of them and the graphs of circle and ellipse and the practical application. So this we are going to be discussing tomorrow, okay? So anything else you want to know? We can try to plot the graphs of ln and log today itself. So let's try to plot the graph because we end the session. Tomorrow we are just going to be discussing about ellipse and circle. So over here in this, you can see that there are two types of graphs which are being given. This is an exponentially decaying function. So exponents function, we can say that they are of two types. Exponential function is going to be of two types. One is going to be exponentially increasing and exponentially decaying. So where can you find out this increasing functions? This increasing functions you can find it out in the case of a bacteria or an amoeba. Everyone knows an amoeba or a bacteria, they will be undergoing binary fission, isn't it? Into daughter nucleides, isn't it? So we can expect an exponentially increasing function. I will try to plot it over there on the left side of this. So if I just try to plot an exponentially increasing function, let's say y is equals to e to the power x, where y is varying with respect to x. What's going to be the value of e? E is a natural number. It's a constant. And the value of e, let me tell you as a fun fact, is equivalent to 2.71 something. Okay. So now if I try to plot e to the power x, the nature of the graph is going to be like this. And the coordinates over here, I will be getting it as 0, 1. Okay. Over there it passes as an asymptote. Yes, fission, we are trying to say, Naruto. Okay, not fusion, I am saying fission. So splitting it up into n number of atoms. The same thing will be followed for any radioactive element. Okay. And over there, in this case, you are having an exponentially decaying function. It's already been given, the function is being given over here. That is y is equals to a e to the power of minus kx. Okay. And you can say that the ordinates of this are going to be 0, a. Okay. And over here you can see this is how a logarithmic function looks like. Any logarithmic function will be having this nature. This is how a logarithmic function, ln function, you can try to draw. And this is going to be the nature of the graph associated over here. But if I am going to be asked to plot y is equals to ln x, then I will be, the nature of the graph is going to be like this. Y, x, this is the origin. I will be getting the nature of the graph to be like this. And this coordinates of the abscissa are going to be 1, 0. Okay, everyone? Those who are able to understand, give me a thumbs up over there. After that, we are about to end up the session for today. So you can note down the graphs, everyone. Everyone should be noting the graphs. And do like the lecture session. If I am seeing 158 watches, everyone should be liking the session. Such that tomorrow I can come with better ideas, better way to usher you up. Okay? Yes, Venkateshwara. Increasing, decreasing by maxima, minima, Lakshmi. That's how we can identify the graphs whether it's increasing or decreasing. Okay, like the sessions over there. I need the likes over there. Okay, so departing right now, tomorrow we will continue with circles, ellipse, two equations, and we are going to be plotting some graphs and identifying some graphs. I will be coming across with some questions. Okay, so departing right now, it's Avina Banerjee for you. Like this video because I need your likes, and don't forget to subscribe our Sri Chaitanya Educational Institutions channel. So thank you very much. We'll be back at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you very much. Good night, good evening.